Thank you, Gabby, and good morning, everybody. What a beautiful day it is on Tyneside, and the elite women about to be introduced. The main contenders and a couple of very good British athletes who will be heading off to the World Championships. Let's not forget they begin later this month in Doha, where it will only be slightly warmer than it is here this morning on Tyneside. Steph 12 will be going in the 10,000 metres for Great Britain there, but she'll also be going to the Chicago Marathon, so half marathon here today as part of her preparations for that. Charlotte Purdue, brilliant performance earlier on in the year, ran so well in London, cementing her place at the World Championships. So Charlie Purdue and Steph 12, the best of the British contingent here today. Now Lynette Massai is the older sister of Magdalene Massai, and Magdalene, who's preparing for Toronto Marathon, was fourth in the Great North Run in 2017, where her now husband proposed to her. You might remember that, maybe a little bit more of that later on. First proposal I remember at the finish line. I think we've had a few en route over the years, but that was done in the full glare of the publicity at the finish. Now Bridget Kosgei, winner of the London Marathon. And if you're with us earlier on, that incredible second half of the race there, may even be quick enough to win this race today if she runs that quick. But she will be up against one of the best ever, second quickest ever in the marathon. Mary Keitany knows how to win here at the Great North Run as well. 3 times the winner of this great event. So the 2019 Great North Run elite women about to get underway. Watchers at the ready, as the thousands of competitors who follow them down towards South Shields in about half an hour or so, still making their way up to the start line behind them. Excellent conditions, no wind to speak of. It'll probably get up to around 16, 17 degrees max. Almost perfect for a fast half marathon today. And Paula, I know that a lot of these women are preparing for various marathons and other things in the next few weeks, but today is a great opportunity. And look at Bridget Kosgei, she's already gone to the front.
She's away, isn't she? She's not waiting for anybody else. She's already got the bit between her teeth and is taking advantage of this first little downhill section that they run into and really stretching out, and there's not really any willingness to go with her at this point. I think the other girl's waiting to see if this is a serious attempt to run away from the beginning, or if she's just stretching out a little bit, maybe just got a little bit cold hanging around at the start.
Well, she's certainly not hanging around, is she? It's also a quickish first mile here, and a little bit downhill on the central motorway. If you know Newcastle at all, and you start to rise up towards the Tyne Bridge. But Kosgei already with an early lead. But talking about the Tyne Bridge, we'll just see the women get away, and then we'll try and catch up with the wheelchair athletes in a minute. But that group there, one or two others which we haven't mentioned. Sinead Diver of Australia, who ran so well in London Marathon earlier on, and the aforementioned Lynette Massai in that big group as well, and the 2 British athletes, Steph 12 and Charlie Purdue. And I think they'll be happy to let Kosgei go off as quick as this. So let's go and catch up with the wheelchairs, Andrew. Yeah, just to correct myself, Paula's doing a good job of keeping me right. Steph 12 will be going to Frankfurt, which is towards the end of October. That marathon. That'll be interesting, isn't it? Because I know we might talk about this going forward because of Eliud Kipchoge trying to run the sub 2 hours in Vienna roundabout during that week as well. So they'll all be hoping for good weather later in the month in Europe, or later in October. Can't be better than this, though. This is perfect, isn't it?
This is perfect. I think if you turn up to run a marathon or a half marathon and you see conditions like this, you're very happy as a distance runner. I think everybody looking out the window here on the seafront in South Shields, anticipating some fast running today and some good running, and people getting here feeling good and really enjoying the conditions. And it looks like from that shot that Bridget Kosgei is really enjoying those, and we'll get an idea when she goes through the first mile just how quickly she's gone off. But you can see now both Masai's, Lynette and Magdalene, moving to the front of that Merikatani, of that group chasing behind as well. But it's a big gap at the moment, and she hasn't looked back once, has she?
Yeah, she's had a little look behind her as though she's surprised they're not going with her. But, I mean, we'll get the splits. And I always think, Paul, you tend to need to get to about mile 3 before they even out, because it's kind of up, down, until they get onto the flat along by Gateshead Stadium. And then we'll kind of get an indication, kind of at about 5K, the first 5K, exactly how quickly she is going compared to everybody else. But that is a big lead at this early stage. Just coming through the city centre, and just will drop down through the overpasses of the various roads into the city centre over the central motorway. There's others taking part, but Kosgei first mile, Paula, 4:56. I mean, as I said, we've got to wait for it all to even out, but that is one of the quickest first miles we've ever had, I think, in the Great North Run.
Yeah, I think it is, and it explains why the group is so fragmented already at this stage in the race, because that's some quick decision making that needs to be taken by these ladies. Do they go with it, or do they just run their own race?
Well, this is the race for them and everybody else. We've just seen them through the central motorway, past that first mile, then once you cross the Tyne Bridge, 2 miles as you come up the hill into Gateshead, then onto the flatter part of the route past Gateshead Stadium, up to the Hewitt roundabout, and then they head towards the left turn at Whitemare Pool, almost halfway there, and then they head down towards the Lindisfarne roundabout, where they turn right up John Reed Road. A little bit of incline, gets a bit tough between mile and 10, and then you climb up through the Nook as you're heading towards the coast, drop down at Marsden onto the seafront and turn left along the Leas to where we are sitting here at the finish line. Very famous route, and you can see there from the graphic there that we're dropping down all the way to the coast. And there is the Tyne Bridge, looking resplendent today. All of the bridges look fabulous, and crowds building, and they'll continue to build, but they're there to welcome the women first of all, with Bridget Kosgei already well out in front. That's, well, I don't know, it's hard to tell from that, but maybe about 100 meters or so. That's a big lead early on.
Yeah, I think it's definitely approaching 100, if not quite there. We'll get how long is the Tyne Bridge? Work it out from that.
Why do you ask me hard questions I don't know the answer to? I would say it's about 357 meters. Prove me wrong.
Well, I'd say she's got a lead of about half the length of the Tyne Bridge.
Well, it's a good lead early on, and the others have broken up, though. That group, I thought they might have all sat together a little bit longer, so I think the impetuosity of Bridget Kosgei has meant that they've themselves have felt the need to kind of push on a little bit. The total length is, I wasn't bad, was it? 389 meters. Thank you, Mr. Cotter. It was a good guess. So yeah, are you surprised the other group's broken up?
No, not really, because if you think she's got to be running there at 65-minute pace or somewhere around that, the third group all have personal bests around about that 67, 68-minute range. So they're running at a sensible pace, and it would be over-committing, I think, to try and go with that group that now includes Merikatani, Lynette Masai, Magdalene Masai, and they are working at trying to not really close that gap, but at least stop it from growing any more at this point, so that...
Sir Mo Farah, 5-time winner of the Great North Run, going 6th record-breaking title here in the world's greatest half marathon. Really looking forward to it. I'm sure he is. A little handshake at the start as everybody gets ready. They will fill the carriageway all the way through to South Shields, and while the men at the start are ready to go, they're joined by the rest of this wonderful race.
On your marks.
The 39th Great North Run gets underway. It couldn't be a better day for the best race in the world. Mo Farah already at the front. I can see Ali Dixon in a Wonder Woman suit over on the right-hand side as well, aiming for a world record in fancy dress. All sorts of stories here, as ever. We'll be bringing you as many of them as we can over the next 4 hours or so. Looks even further than it was the last time we were with it.
Yeah, it's much bigger, but given the last few splits, so the third mile covered in 4:59, 5:03 for the fourth mile, and 5 again for the fifth mile. That explains why she's running so far ahead. I mean, 25:09 is very, very quick running just for a 5-mile race. But to start off the Great North Run with it, the three behind Mary Catani has decided I'm not up for this today. I'm not giving chase to that. I'm going to concentrate on the race that I'm in here and do what I can to still on course. Very fast time herself, running in this group with the Masai sisters.
So this is the chasing group, who I wouldn't say are chasing at the minute, but they're the second group. And then a little further back, Charlotte Purdue's with the 2 Australian athletes, but Kosgei just tried to take some water there, did she? Missed. That's important as well. You really just want to slow just a tad and make sure you grab the water, because she has to wait quite a while for the next water station.
Yeah, she does. She tried to grab a couple there and wasn't able to get hold of them. It is in the cups, which when you're an elite marathoner and you're used to being able to take your own bottle, which is much easier to drink out of, it is hard to grab the cups there, and I think she just wasn't able to get it. But given how she already looks as though she's sweating, she's definitely already working hard. She probably did need to get that fluid on board.
So halfway for Bridget Kosgei as she heads towards Mill Lane roundabout, but the men are just climbing up Tyne Bridge, and although a fairly quickish first mile, looks as though they've settled down a little bit. 4:26 the first mile, most certainly started quick enough, but they've just settled nicely. Big group there. Always tells you that they're just finding a comfortable pace in these early stages as they head on to the Tyne Bridge, where the crowds are building.
Yeah, and it's a great sight, as it always is, across the Tyne Bridge, people trying to get that great picture if they're watching there, but the race not yet really hotted up on the men's side. I think there's a lot of people still there, a lot of looking around, a lot of just taking the time to settle in. So a big contrast to the women's race, which we saw blown apart really from the first 100 meters or so. This race is taking a little bit of protagonists are all still in there and nobody yet pushing it on. I guess the only one that we thought might have done at this point might have been Callum Hawkins if he really wanted to get his head down and get moving early on.
I think he was making the point, though, Paula, that he said, I'm going to race this, you know, and I think he was prepared for anything. If they went hard, he was going to go with the group if it went hard. But I think the fact that there's a group, he wants to race it, which is a smart thing to do. And, you know, he's confident about what sort of shape he's in and that he'll contend with whatever moves I make. And so far, he doesn't have to do anything except just sit there.
Yeah, I think if it does go too slow, I think that Callum's best way of racing it is to make it tough and to test the others. I think he knows that if he leaves it down to the South Shield Seafront, take on the challenge off the back of World 50k Championships, which she actually won and set a world record in last week. So I think this week's been about recovery, and it's just a bit of fun, and also raising money for St Benedict's Hospice.
Right, I know we're keeping an eye on Mo Farah here and all the rest, but in your final London Marathon, did you not, was Paul Martelletti, did he not do one in Spider-Man? Was he not running alongside you for a bit?
Yeah, he did, and it was a bit unnerving. He dressed as Spider-Man running along filming you when you're trying to run still at a reasonable pace. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a challenge that is being taken up more and more, and there are a lot of criteria to fulfill to get those records, and a lot more people trying to do it.
Final question, which superhero would you choose?
Really?
That's the look that Paula just gave me.
You think Paula reads comics?
I don't know. Who would you choose?
Who would I choose?
Yes.
I would probably, my favorite was Batman.
Oh.
So if I had to go as Batman,
I'll scab alongside as Robin beside you.
Okay, I used to have a Batman outfit.
Well,
we're happy days. Hanging there.
University days.
And those are very nice words. as well earlier on. Thank you very much. I seem to have been a much better student with the advantage of history than I seem to remember. But anyway, Abdi is alongside Mo Farah. Their first 2 miles was reasonably swift, settled down in the second mile, went a bit slow as we suspected. 9:02 through 2 miles, which is sub 1 hour pace, but they've slowed, I think, a little bit, or certainly settled into a fairly comfortable rhythm, judging by that group. By contrast, in the women's race, the reason why that lead had grown, that 6th mile, Paula, 4:41. You do drop down to White Mare Pool, but when she missed her water through that 6th mile, I just wonder whether that's going to have any, well, there's no signs yet, but maybe later on whether it has an effect. But she is flying.
She is absolutely flying, and completely metronomic. She's really, really focused, isn't she? She's only just, as I said, that just one look behind what's going on there. Is that a sign of weakness, a little bit of a grimace there, or is that just checking to see, have I destroyed them yet? Not much sign of weakness with another 4:49 miles and slightly uphill through that section as well. So that is phenomenal running. And you have to think she's going to have to start getting tired sometime soon with this pace that's throwing down, and remembering that the sections from here on in there start to be more and more climbs, particularly between 9 and 11 miles, and that's really going to test her legs, which have to more now.
So Gateshead Stadium, I was mentioning earlier, we'll welcome International Athletics back next middle of August, I think it is, where it will be 35 degrees centigrade, or thereabouts. Mo Farah is just moving things on a little. Coming back to Paula's point about Kosgei, that that part of the course, it might be a contrast to what we saw her do in London, where of course she went so quick in the second half, and Mo was the in London. It kind of was, he went out there and was good pace, and Mo struggled. And in fact, this race, the Masai sisters, Lynette just to the camera over on the far side, Mary Katani, Magdalene Masai in the middle in the all blue, and they're moving pretty good. They're not running slow at all, but the fact that the leader is still heading for 65-minute pace, maybe even a tad quicker, who knows. I'm hesitating to say world record, because that pace was incredibly quick, but, and let's point out the more difficult part of the race to come. But still, all 4 of them, Kosgei at the front and these 3, are running very, very quickly.
Yes, they are. The splits through 10K, Bridget through in 30:53, and that trio that we were just looking at of Katani, Lynette Masai and Magdalene Masai. Yeah, she got her water this time. There you go, so you're okay. They went through 10K in 2:01, so they are still running at a very good pace, as is Charlotte Purdue running with Sinead Diver just a little bit further back, 32:28 and 29. So those 2 now also running together. They've spent a fair amount of time training together as well, I think, but they're also on for good pace.
Interesting that she didn't drink any water there. It was just a bit of pouring a little bit of it on her face and cool her down, but didn't drink any of it.
Be interested to see whether the men take any on board. Temperature just creeping up a little bit, but this is the first time we've seen Balkans go to the front. And given that, well, you saw there that last mile was a slow one, 4:44 on Callum, as Paula was mentioning early on, probably thinking, well, that doesn't really suit my game plan. I came here to run hard. I'm in good shape. I want a good test, if nothing else. And just by Callum having a little nibble at the front, and that's provoked a response from Mo Farah and Abdi as well. Abdi just a few words exchanged between himself and Mo. Can 2 of you control a race, Paula?
I think 2 of you can certainly, particularly when your training partners, can come in with a race plan and can agree to a certain extent to help each other out, or to together as well. And I think there Abdi certainly recognised the challenge of Callum just moving up to the front, and Callum absolutely doing the right thing there. I'm here, I'd like it to be a little bit quicker. I'm not quite ready yet to really push it on, but I'm going to let you know I'm here, and if you keep letting it slow down, then I will go and I will push on hard.
So no change in the men. Charlotte Purdue in the women's race knows that, well, there's a good chance today for her to post good. But what would have helped her really would be to running with others. And Sinead Diver, the Australian, she was running with the two Australians and just trying to see where the two of them are. Through Thankyou, Charlotte with a 32.29, which isn't hanging around at all, moving well. She hasn't broken, well, she's only broken 70 minutes once, but her best run at the Great North 2014. She didn't have such a good race last year, but so far so good this year.
Yeah, no, she'd run well in Maragami earlier on this year as well, and I think certainly come into this race in very, very good shape. She was talking about certainly challenging her personal best, trying to get down towards the 68 minutes. It's hard to judge where Sinead Diver is, whether she at this point is ahead of her or behind her, but certainly Charlotte looking as though she's running very, very well and moving at a good pace.
Yeah, main contenders in there though. Tola is there, Hawkins is there, Abdi is there, Nagie, we haven't mentioned him. He's just shifting across to the right there. You can see him in the white vest over on the far side. He'll be a threat. Komatsu, a couple of very good Japanese athletes in this. Jack Rayner, who we introduced at the start, the Commonwealth Half Marathon champion. About 70-80 metres adrift of that leading group. Little rise and then drop down to Whitemare Pool, take the left-hand turn, and the halfway point approaching for them. Tola has just gone to the front there, Paula, just having a little bit of a look. It is indeed.
Yes, he's just decided that he's going to take his turn at the front and keep turning the pace going. You can see Mo just looking around, just checking who is still there in that pack, and that move by Tola has suddenly strung them from a pack into almost single file behind.
Well, this is a real bit of a push. This was the mile where we saw Bridget Kosgei really push on, and Tola thinking the same thing. I'm approaching halfway. Let it flow for a couple of miles. Let's get this race moving. So Tola, the world silver medalist, Olympic bronze medalist, behind Mo Farah, of course, in Rio. On, Abdi follows, Mo Farah follows. Then there's a bit of a gap. Callum Hawkins just struggling to go with those three. And he's probably just wondering in his head there, do I push? Maybe feels as though it's too quick a surge and wants to take his time to try and close that gap. But it's Nagie on his left who now moves past him. But Somalian who now has Dutch citizenship, he's in 4th place, leading that second group. Of course, though.
Yeah, this bit is a very quick bit of the course, but Tola taking advantage of that and is really starting to ask questions of this group. I don't think this is to break away, but it certainly was a big increase in the pace, and you can see the damage that it's done immediately stretched out behind him along that road.
So Farah just slotting in behind Tola. And the three of them just settling down now. He's just shifted and up to a higher cadence. And the others haven't quite let them completely go. 15 meters or so. But these three with an early lead here, just past halfway. Now, Chris, we were talking about how quick Bridget Kosgei is running, and she's maintaining it, because what was the time we were looking for, 10 miles, Paula?
49.29 by Carol in 2018. And there she is.
Well, by our reckoning, she's a few seconds inside that. We think that she's just gone through a few seconds inside. We'll get it confirmed. It takes a little while for it to come up on the computer, but Bridget Kosgei running at record pace now, as Paula rightly pointed out. World best times on roads these days. There's a formula around where between the start and the finish. This is a point-to-point race, and so the Great North Run course is not eligible for record purposes. We know that is fast. 49.21 through 10 miles, so 8 seconds quicker than anyone has ever gone through a ratified 10. She's not slowing down. She's got a big lead here. The course record for the Great North Run is 65.39. Mary Keitany, 2014, and by our reckoning, something around 65 minutes if she holds this together. The world record is another 30 seconds or so quicker than that. So she's going to be heading for one of the quickest half marathons ever.
Absolutely. I'm trying to look at different ways that people have run fast on this course. Mary Keitany, when she went through that 10-mile point in 50.04. I ran 65.40. I went through in just outside, a shade outside 50, so maybe 50.01, something like that. So she's definitely well up on that. Now, it depends how much she's got left to maintain. Mary ran much quicker over the final section of the course, but certainly moving very, very quickly, as is Tola now. And I think those questions are starting to get asked. So moving out of that formation and running alongside Abdi just checking to see where he's gone, just to settle in behind, and that's a sign that it's starting to. I think he's not trying to play any psychological.
Well, you wouldn't exactly call Sir Mo a student, would you? He's a don, isn't he? A don of half marathon running and 10,000 meters, 5,000 meters. Probably still a student of the marathon, would you say, Paula?
Yeah, but I think in fairness, marathon, I don't think there's many, barring maybe Eliud Kipchoge, who ever become completely a master of the marathon. It can always throw up some kind of challenger, and that's why that mile for them had really backed off a little bit to 5:01, the latest mile in this race. And then we saw just before we went move past Tola just to say we're still here, we're still there, but that is a big gap back now, back to Callum Hawkins, who's got a long road ahead of him. You can still see his sights on it, and he's working his way back towards him, isn't he? That's Kosgei just ahead of him.
Well, Callum went through 10k in 28.33. You know, and he raced 10k recently, Paul, and 28.55 on the roads. So that through 10k is quick, very quick for Callum Hawkins. So he's not running badly here. I mean, to be honest, if you're going to run sub 1, able to run a quicker 10k than 28.55, and he says he's in great shape. So at least some evidence there that he is moving pretty well and running. He's running his own race, operating at a pretty high level.
Yeah, he is. He was very, very frustrated, I think, with that 10k. I think he wanted to come out and run quicker than that. He was a little bit frustrated as to why it didn't go. He's a lot more in control and running a lot more smoothly here today.
So Callum Hawkins in 5th place at the moment. Kosgei is the athlete in 4th. These three. Tola forcing the issue, pushing on. Mo Farah just starting to work a little bit hard for me there, Mo. Just being put under a little bit of pressure. Abdi, his training partner, to his right with the arm sleeves. Tola has got good pedigree, hasn't he? I think there were a few question marks about whether Tola was coming here in absolute top shape and could he put these guys under some sort of pressure. Well, the evidence so far is yes. To the back, I'm sure we might get a view of him later. Meanwhile, dropping down through the nook and down towards the seafront, Kosgei maintaining great pace. He went through 5:03 through the 11th mile. And Paula, this is tough on your legs, but she is still flying. She must know now that she's got a really good time in her grasp. Now, I'm going to ask you a question here. When you're in these laps, to be pushed by somebody, or can relax on your own and just really, give it everything you've got?
I think when you've given it everything that she has up to this point, better to be on your own, because she's way ahead. So she's not going to worry about judging that effort to perfection. She can really concentrate on the fact that she's running very, very fast. She must know that. She must know she's within that world record even, and she can pour everything into it. As we look back, there's been a bit of a shake-up here. From 3, we're down to 2 in the chasing group, so that means Mary dropped back off that, and I think it's the Maasai sisters of Magdalene and Lynette running side by side.
Yeah, I think you're right, too. That might give Charlotte Purdue something to look at, because Charlotte was going well in 5th place. Katani back into 4th. Well, Paula, if she could... She's got a little bit of an uphill section here, but then the last sort of 800 meters is downhill towards the finish. And if she can really get something going, 65 minutes or thereabouts to be within her sight. So Bridget Kosgei is right there towards heading towards the finish. Meanwhile, in the men's race, Abdi, Mo Farah's training partner. Well, that won't help Mo. He's in I think he would have liked to have had his training partner and friend alongside him. And Tola really is turning the screw here.
I think maybe coming into this race, Mo Farah would have looked at the names on paper and would absolutely have recognised and picked out Tamirat Tola as a danger and as somebody to watch. But there is also, when everybody's getting ready for marathons at different stages in the year, what kind of shape are people in when they've been away training? No real indication from races. Well, he's getting the answer now that Tola and that he's really turning the screw here, and that gap now has quickly opened up around that roundabout. And I think you're right. I think Mo would much rather at this point have his training partner so they can work together, because that's not an insurmountable gap by any means. Mo can close that down very, very easily, and he's starting to make inroads in it now. But it is a sign of good shape, and that Mo wasn't able to respond because he wouldn't have wanted that gap to open up. He hasn't deliberately let that open up and then close it up again.
Needs to be careful there. He's going to hit the uphill section there, so along John Reed Road, so it'll be interesting to see whether Farah can work his way back to him. Well, that's not a winning lead. It has been pretty much from the start a winning lead for Bridget Kosgei, the winner of the London Marathon back in April, and she's going to win the Great North Run here. But the question is, how go? She's going to run one of the quickest half marathons ever. She is going to break the course record. I'm going to say that now. She's not going to slow down, and she was well inside it. 65 minutes, Paula.
I think she's going to be very, very close. She depends how much she tires now over this. Inside the last 800 yet? No, she's not quite, but she must be very close to approaching. There she is inside the last 800, so yeah, I think she is.
Yeah, so do I. I'm glad we... Bridget Kosgei then, downhill finish. The crowds are huge here at South Shields on a beautiful day, and they're witnessing one of the quickest half marathons. Only 3 women, the world record holder Justin Jep Kosgei, Fancy Chemutai and Mary Katani have ever run under 60. And Bridget Kosgei will break the course record. That's 65:39, so you can watch the clock with us. We can see her right in the distance from... She's a long way up the hill, but she'll cover this ground in around about, well, maybe a minute and a half or a little bit longer than that. Very, very close to the quickest ever half marathon. That is 64:51. She is flying, Paula.
And she's just getting quicker and quicker. We thought she might fatigue and tire over the course, but she's now getting much faster. And she must know that though it won't count as a world record, she is within this world record.
A little falter there. She actually followed the bike. When the bike pulled off to the left to stop, she went with it. I don't know if she thought there was going to be a left-hand turn or something. Hopefully that hasn't slowed her down. The clock is ticking. She's got just over a minute to get under the world best for a half marathon. 200 meters to go. Surely she's going to do. Bridget Kosgei being lifted by this crowd. The noise is incredible here. They are witnessing something special. Bridget Kosgei, the winner, ran the fastest ever second half of a marathon on that occasion. And today here on Tyneside and the Great North Run, Bridget Kosgei is heading. record time. Nobody has ever run quicker over the distance than Bridget Kosgei. She's absolutely smashed it. Bridget Kosgei, the quickest ever half marathon in the world. 64 minutes and 31 seconds. 4:28 the official time. Absolutely incredible. What a finish.
Absolutely flying. I mean, she's barely got any breath to catch, it seems. She's just, now we see the fatigue start to show when you cross the finish line, particularly when you've run as fast as she is. But she almost looked back up in shock as where is everyone? Well, everybody's quite a long way behind because you've just run phenomenally quick here. There were no signs of fatigue at the end. She got quicker and quicker.
Well, we knew she was heading for 65 minutes or thereabouts, but look at Charlotte Purdue. This is an incredible run from her as well. Now, she's going to move herself right up the British all-time list.
She is, but at the moment she's heading for Mary Keitany in front of her. I think she's got her in her sights. She knows that she is running quicker at this point. She's got enough road to be able to catch and to make that ground up on them.
Well, she could be heading for I'm going to say sub 68, something like that. Depends how well she can finish this. It's such a good finish when you've got a bit of momentum because it is just slightly downhill here. You don't really see it, but just dropping down to the finish line. She'll be working off the crowd. There you can see 400 meters to go. They'll be pushed onto the left-hand side, I think. They're right, and there you see Magdalene Masai moves over, Lynette Masai moves over, Mary Keitany moves over, Charlotte Purdue moving over. And there's a between all of them as they're heading down here, all posting good times. Only 66.5 minutes on the clock at the moment.
Yeah, I know they all have very well. You can see there. I mean, that lens really foreshortens those gaps, but for Charlotte Purdue, that's tantalizingly close to be able to get herself with Mary Keitany. I don't think she's going to be able to do it, but she's going to try very, very hard.
Masai looking at her watch, Magdalene Masai. She'll be heading off to the Toronto Marathon. What a good preparation this has been. She's heading for what could well be close to a personal best for her. Well, she's maybe outside it, but we'll see. There's Lynette Masai, good return to form for her as well. So Masai's best is 67.31, and she's got less than 100 meters to go. She's going to be so close to her personal best. Fourth here in 2017. She's going to be second this time. After the finish line, she's just outside her personal best. As we watch Lynette Masai come through to take third, her older sister. And then it'll be Mary Keitany. Well, I'm just watching for Charlotte Purdue. The British all-time list, of course, is led by Paula Radcliffe. Then Liz McColgan, that time's gone as well. But Gemma Steele is third with 68.30. And Charlotte Purdue is going to be just outside 68 minutes. Here she comes. A massive personal best for Charlie Purdue. Brilliant. That is the third fastest ever by a British woman for the half marathon distance. Congratulations to her. What a strong performance over the last 4 or 5 miles, and almost catching Mary Keitany.
She was. I think she will go away very, very pleased with that. She showed already in the London Marathon earlier this step forward that she'd taken, and I think the confidence that that gave her then carried into the training that she's done, building through here, and she's shown herself in very, very good shape, and that's a big confidence forward into her next marathon as well.
Well, I still can't get over Bridget Kosgei. I mean, we knew she had a great chance of going under, but that last mile and a bit, it is a mile and a bit, 1.1 miles. I'm trying to work out what she ran the last 1.1 miles in. What was that finish time?
64.28.
Yeah, so she ran it in about 5 minutes 15 for 1.1 miles at the end.
Which is very, very quick racing. But back, and we've got side by side now. Tola has given up trying to forge ahead at this point, and he's running alongside Mo Farah with that gap. Not really grown substantially back to Abdi behind. That last mile, 4:39, so they're settling down, but still an inconsistency in the pace. There's a lot of toing and froing, which can hurt and can ask questions too, particularly over the half marathon when you're doing that up and down the hills as well.
Yeah, I just wondered whether Tola was a bit impetuous here. I think, hey, I'm ahead of Mo Farah. I've got rid of his training partner. Maybe Farah's struggling a little bit. And Mo panic, kept him close enough, knows this course so well, knows when to make the effort, knows to be patient. Callum Hawkins moving well though, he's chasing down, so we said how well he was, although he was distant, a good first 10k, he's continued that on through 15k, approaching the 10-mile point. Hawkins continuing to build through this race, which is a good way to do it. Finish strong and know, okay, he hasn't taken on Mo Farah here, but he's not that far behind on Abdi.
Yeah, I think actually I had those two the wrong way round, so I think Kosgei has moved ahead of Bashir Abdi, so that's him that we can see chasing Farah and Tola, and then who in fact has dropped further back and is now within the sights of Callum Hawkins.
Well, Tola, the New York Marathon, which is first weekend in November. After this, his next race might be different conditions to this, who knows, it can sometimes be pretty chilly in New York in November. Would love to get the scalp of Mo Farah before he heads there. Nonetheless, either way, he's running pretty well and running strongly. He's the one forcing the issue. He's the one trying to test Mo Farah through this tricky section up through the Nook. And little bit of an incline up through here before you drop down to front. You can see him, he keeps looking, isn't he, Paula? You can see he's making an effort because he wants to see if his effort is actually having an effect.
Yeah, what he's doing is testing a little bit, putting in some surges and seeing what it is. Mo Farah is fairly good at kidology as well. He's fairly good at pretending he might be a little bit more tired than he actually is, and seeing what that does to the opposition. On this Tola, he's then backed off a little bit, and Mo has made the ground back up on him as we now watch Callum Hawkins go past Bashir Abdi, and yeah, he does absolutely what you should do. Don't even slow down, don't sit in behind for a little bit, just keep going and keep focusing up the road ahead and on the time ahead and on whoever is next within his sights to be able to work on. And
well, this is a bigger gap this time, isn't it? And Tola really is putting the foot down. Another little look behind to see if there's any response from Farah. Can he respond? Does he have anything to give? Another look from Tola, and he'll be wanting to make this gap as big as he can before he drops onto the seafront. Looks a bit heavy-legged at the moment, a little bit leaden there. Not so much bounce as we often see. And Mo, I don't know if that was a check of his watch there, but they've got the 11-mile chink, and that is a 2 or 3 second lead now for Tola.
yeah, I think Mo definitely starting to look tired here. Insurmountable by any means, that gap now, particularly when you think that when they drop onto the seafront, the support and the encouragement that Mo Farah will get, and the fact that he knows to the finish here will stand him in good stead, and he won't give up fighting until he gets there. But certainly Tola forging ahead, using that hill to crush and to grind more distance between himself and Mo Farah, and then how they both tackle a downhill drop onto the seafront is going to be significant as well, because when you've already run, hammer it too hard, you can deaden your legs a little bit, particularly if they're already starting to struggle and if they're already carrying a fair amount of muscle.
So, and then can rally in the last mile, who knows? But at the moment, Tola looks strong. He just dropped his arms, trying to relax through this section, but it's not a winning lead yet. Absolutely not.
It's not, and I was just running through my head. If you see someone shaking out their arms like that in front of you, is that a good sign or a bad sign? I think Mo's going to take it as a good sign, and a sign he can still chase him down.
Well, they're approaching the finish line, but still at the start line. plenty who have yet to really get moving. Good to see the Lord Mayor out, and congratulating people for making the start line. Well done. Oh, but plenty of support ahead of you. It's not getting any bigger, that lead, and that's the good news for Mo Farah. In fact, if anything, maybe just sneaked a metre or so back.
I think he's starting to work his way back, and I think these consistent glances over the shoulder from Tola far more to feed the energy of Mo Farah and to give him hope than they are giving Tola any hope that he has broken Mo Farah, because he's far from broken him yet. Testing him, but unless he keeps his eyes forward and he keeps working ahead, Mo Farah is drawing on those glances over your shoulder as signs of weakness.
And that then eats away at the confidence of Tola. He made his big efforts. Not the only effort he's made a couple of efforts. So all of a sudden, Mo Farah back. And this is where you can really stamp your authority. Not only move alongside, but perhaps just go ahead and just see whether or not Tola can help. They're about 300-400 meters from the roundabout where they'll drop down to the seafront. And then the left turn, sharp left. And then you know you're into the last mile. You'll see the 12-mile marker just after you've made the turn, just over a mile to go. So Farah with a race on here, with a test. Callum Hawkins charging, as we saw him do, of course, at the World Championships in London in 2017 and the marathon, when he came through in the latter stages to finish fourth on that occasion. He looks good, he looks strong, he's moving well. And he's already into fourth place, we think, Paula. We think between Hawkins and the top two is Kosgei.
Yeah, we think so. I couldn't see him up the road ahead. We may get a better view from this angle, but yeah, from the last Kosgei was ahead. He's definitely past Bashir Abdi, so he's definitely fourth. How close he is to third, it's hard to tell. There, yeah. No, yeah, he's actually in third, is he?
Well, this is the last roundabout before they drop down the hill, and the front two you can see there. That heli shot just as tantalizingly moving ahead of Callum. He could well be third, but we'll tidy that up. So this is what Mo's good at, you know. He's got lovely cadence, Mo. He's got that kind of stride, and being able to run fast downhill isn't an art form. It's certainly a skill, and he's done it to great effect there. He's been waiting for that little moment, and he's gone, right, okay, here we go. You've had your chance at the front. You've hard. I was hanging on for a little bit, but this is my response. And all of a sudden, Mo Farah moves into a 10, 12-meter lead.
Now you can hear the support that he's getting. A little glance around there, but I think it was more just to see what damage that relaxed drop down onto the seafront that he just executed had done to Tola. I don't think he's beaten Tola yet, but I think that this is significant now. When Mo Farah hits the front and makes a gap like that, then it's usually game over. Is to be had in the last mile or so, and that is Callum Hawkins now coming around the roundabout and also dropping down. I think he's in third.
I think Kosgei, so I think in fourth place, but these two obviously now into the last, what, 1,200 meters or so. Mo Farah with a lead that's as those legs continue to extend, and this will be the sight that will be welcomed hugely by the big, as they will grow as he heads closer to the finish line. Farah heading for a sixth victory. Hasn't looked like an easy day for Farah today. I think he's had to work hard for this, but that's not a bad thing. Sometimes a bit of a test before you're going on, obviously, to Chicago, where he'll be hoping he can win like he did last year. Hasn't had it all his own way here today, and still looking round.
Yeah, he is still looking round, but I think he's looking much better now than he has at any point up to this stage in the race. He looked as though a bit of pressure in the middle, just didn't really look comfortable. Now that he's striding out and now that he's on home territory, if you like, I think he's really feeling much better, and I think he will go back into now of training, getting ready for that Chicago Marathon, with some of those questions about what needs to be worked on in training answered, and be able to work through on those. It's not fully won yet, but I'd take that up from this point.
Well, he's still heading for something under the hour mark, so, you know, that we keep judging Mo by very, very high standards. Callum won't be too far over the hour, actually. Somewhere between 60 and 61 minutes for Callum Hawkins, so the Scot could well be heading for one of his best ever performances. But for Mo Farah, now he can begin to enjoy a little bit. He won't relax here because Tola's too close for him to be able to do that. He's going to have to keep working through, but once he gets to go, then he'll be able to relax a little bit. That lead is a good 20 meters or so. So Mo Farah looking strong, moving nicely. Huge support from the crowd, which have come to love him so much, and love him particularly at this event here. 5 wins before he arrived in 2019. He keeps just checking, isn't he? He'd love to ease back, he can't yet though.
Well, I think he's got a bit of a problem here, because while the crowd is really helping him and encouraging him, it's cutting out that he's able to get from the breathing, from the foot strikes of Tola chasing him. So in order to know where he is, he has to look behind, but he must know that that can't be changing in between glances as he's looking back far too frequently, and he needs now to just focus on running in and not worry about whether he needs to check whether he's got enough time to celebrate crossing the line. I think he does now and race into the finish, because as you said, it is still a very, very quick time.
400 meters or so to go for Mo Farah. Just another look behind. He's looking every 50 just to check, but that lead is extending now. Nothing's going to stop him. Nothing is going to prevent him from winning his 6th Great North run. So Mo Farah finally must know that the victory is in the bag. Tola has done a great job of making it as hard as he possibly could for the great champion today. 200 meters to go for Farah. Crowd cheering him home. Look at the crowds here. Absolutely phenomenal scenes at South Shields. Mo Farah knows so well. He loves this race. He loves coming to Tyneside. He loves coming to the Great North Run, and he loves coming because he wins. And this will be the 6th occasion on which he's good for everybody else. Whatever they manage to throw at him, he's equal to it, and he's better. Mo Farah winning just outside 59 minutes, his 6th Great North Run. Tola taking 2nd place, having pushed Farah all the way, and look how tired he is. Well, that might have been one of his most difficult. He's had some close victories. It was one of the closest, and it may well have been one of the most difficult. Kosgei has run very well indeed to take 3rd spot. He's looking at his watch. Kept as close as he could to the top 2, but they moved away with 4 miles to go, and then the gap probably didn't get too much bigger after miles to go, and he stayed strong and is finishing strongly as well. Callum Hawkins will be in 4th place, and we'll be keeping an eye on the clock, but a sub 1 hour clocking for Kosgei. That will be a new national record for him, and he's knocked another 30 seconds or so off his personal best. And here comes Callum Hawkins. It won't be a personal best. He's heading, though, I think, for his 3rd fastest ever half marathon. He has run 60 minutes and 60 minutes 08 in 2017 when he had that phenomenal year. They finished 4th in the World Championships. And this will be his best half marathon since then. So that's going to give him an awful lot of confidence as he heads off to the world. Hawkins coming in to finish in 4th place. Really good run from him. There's the top 3, led as ever by Mo Farah. Tola should be, I think, very proud of his effort today. The new personal best and a national record in 3rd. Here's Abdi, Mo's training partner. Well, he can often push his friend very, very close. Not today, though. He's at the 2nd place. Around about 61.08 for Abdi.
Will take place on the main raceway in around about half an hour or so.
So Faniel coming in next, and we'll watch them crossing the finish line. Maybe it might be a few personal bests today. That one a bit outside. Farah. I'm sort of ignoring the fact that he's run quicker than he's ever run before. Tola. It was close. Picked up in that last 200 meters or so, maybe 250 meters. So we'll get confirmation of that, but we think he's knocked a few seconds off his best, and if it is the case, it'd be a new European best as well. It's always difficult talking about records. You can talk about your personal best, and I think for Mo it's a test of, this is the course he wants to test himself on. And so that's his fastest ever half marathon, and particularly here at the Great North Run, that means so much to him. Lovely scenes. That's a gentle jog, isn't it? That's a tired Mo Farah. And when you've run faster than you've ever run before, then so it should be.
Yeah, you're I mean, he's very, very close, only 7 seconds away from dipping under the 59-minute barrier. So although we have pointed out that it doesn't count for record purposes, it absolutely counts for purposes. And I think for Mo Farah's confidence now, going back and knuckling down and going into a race where he's got a very tough race on his hands in the Chicago Marathon, and he's also trying to improve on his European record there, that's got to stand him in good stead and really give him some confidence to go back into that training phase.
There's Mo Farah. I think he's heading back to Newcastle on his warm down. He'll meet everybody on the way if he does that. I'm sure he'll stop once he gets a couple hundred yards up and then back to us. But what a race from Mo Farah, a new personal best for him, winning his 6th Great North Run and the fastest ever in the women's race from Bridget Kosgei. What a day, Gabby.
Incredible from Mo Farah. He's done it 6 in a row, and he was pushed in a great time, which will set him up well for Chicago in a few weeks' time, enjoying the adulation of the crowds. And it really is incredible how many people come out time and time again. I mean, who could resist the skies, wonderful temperatures, no wind, and they are out there to support him, but also to support the masses. He's got 57,000 people behind him who have yet to cross the line. Send you good luck messages as well to #GetInspired, and you can find BBC Sport on the Facebook Live as well. And do tell us who you're cheering for, who you're supporting, which charities you're supporting. There are so many people out there who need your support, running that 13.1 miles, which may well have seemed like an impossible dream for them a few months ago. They've got off their couches, they've got off their sofas, and many of them have taken on the challenge of couch to 5K as well, and got themselves running to the point where they've managed to attempt a marathon. Truly incredible. Mo Farah is still heading away from the finish line at the moment. The way he's going at the moment is going to be right up on the high street in a minute, Steve Cram. You know the geography of this area better than he's going to have to turn around soon.
Yeah, either that or he's got a lift up there somewhere. I don't know, but yeah, he's enjoying the atmosphere, and it's an incredible down here. I'm not sure I've seen quite as many people, not for a good few years here. The weather has obviously helped. Mo Farah is the big draw though, and he's delivered once again. 07 has come up as the official time. And just to give you a bit of context, we talk about women's sport moving on. Britain time would have won the Great North Run, the men's race, back in the mid-80s. It was one of the slower years, to be fair, but nonetheless, this shows you how. Mo's walking now, no surprise. Trying to shake as many hands as possible. So let's just tidy all of this up and give you the names.
What a beautiful view that is, and David Weir taking his 8th victory in the men's wheelchair event. Brent Lakatos was company for him for a long part of the race. It was a good finish, in fact. David Weir, though, taking victory, and now he heads on to the big marathons, big city marathons later in the year. The women's wheelchair race was taken by Jade Hall, formerly Jade Jones. Woods, who was hoping for her 8th victory but still coming back from her maternity leave, and the defending champion Martina Snopek of Poland was down in 3rd.
Bridget Kosgei, 64 minutes and 28 seconds. Almost 30 seconds quicker than anyone has ever run before for the half marathon distance. Unbelievable run from her. Masai, just outside her personal best, 67.36 in second. Then Lynette Masai, Mary Katani, Charlie Purdue with 68 minutes. Third fastest time ever in the half marathon distance by a British athlete. Sinead Diver of Australia with her teammate Ellie Pashley, both under minutes as well. 59.07. It wasn't just about winning today, it was about running fast, and he did. Mo Farah with his quickest ever Great North Run win, quickest ever marathon, 59 minutes and 7, as I said. Tamrit Tola, great run from him, 59.13. Nagay with a new Dutch